Wyoming Love by Weston Ford. The sun dipped low over the endless expanse of the Wyoming plains, painting the sky in strokes of amber and violet. In the small frontier town of Stillwater, life moved at a pace dictated by the land itself. Horses' hooves kicked up dust in the main street, and the saloon's doors swung with a gentle creak as ranchers sought respite from the day's toil. Among the sounds of town life, Clara Marks worked steadily behind the counter of the general store. Clara was a woman of quiet strength, her hands calloused from years of hard work. With her auburn hair tied back in a braid and eyes the color of the clear summer sky, she had a presence that commanded both respect and admiration. Orphaned at a young age, Clara had taken over the store from her late father and turned it into a cornerstone of the community. But though her days were full, a sense of longing often crept into her heart, a yearning for something beyond the monotony of ledger books and inventory lists. The bell above the store's door jingled, breaking Clara's reverie. She looked up to see a stranger step inside. He was tall, with broad shoulders and a face weathered by the sun. His dark hair curled slightly under the brim of his hat, and his hazel eyes carried an air of mystery. "Afternoon, ma'am," he said, tipping his hat. "I'm looking for some supplies. Just moved into the old Whitaker ranch." Clara's brows lifted in surprise. "That place has been abandoned for years. You've got a lot of work ahead of you." The man chuckled, a warm sound that seemed to fill the room. "That's the truth. Name's Samuel Hart, and you must be Miss Marks. Folks around here speak highly of you." Clara felt a flush rise to her cheeks but maintained her composure. "Well, Mr. Hart, let's see what we can do to get you started." Over the next half hour, Clara helped Samuel gather tools, nails, and provisions. Their conversation was easy, punctuated by Samuel's dry wit and Clara's soft laughter. When he left, the store felt unusually quiet, and Clara found herself glancing at the door more often than she cared to admit. Samuel quickly became a familiar figure in Stillwater. The townsfolk were intrigued by the newcomer, a rancher with a mysterious past and an easy smile. He worked tirelessly on the Whitaker property, slowly transforming the dilapidated homestead into a thriving ranch. Clara often saw him at the store, where their exchanges grew longer and more personal. She learned that Samuel had grown up in Texas and lost his family to a fever, a tragedy that drove him to seek a fresh start in Wyoming. One crisp autumn morning, Samuel arrived at the store with a request. "Miss Marks, I could use some advice about planting winter wheat. I'd be much obliged if you'd take a look at the place." Clara hesitated. She rarely left the store during business hours, but something about Samuel's earnest expression made her agree. "All right, Mr. Hart. But if I'm late opening tomorrow, I'll blame you." The ride to the ranch was filled with lively conversation. Samuel pointed out the progress he'd made, his pride evident. When they arrived, Clara was struck by how much he had accomplished. The house's roof gleamed with new shingles, the fences stood straight, and the fields were plowed with precision. "You've done well," Clara said, admiration in her voice. Samuel grinned. "Couldn't have done it without your store." As they walked the fields, Samuel's hand brushed against Clara's. A jolt of electricity passed between them, and for a moment, the world seemed to hold its breath. Samuel's gaze softened. "Clara, I?" A sudden neigh from the barn interrupted them. Samuel chuckled, breaking the tension. "I guess the horses don't want me getting too sentimental." Clara smiled, though her heart was racing. She wasn't sure what to make of Samuel's closeness, but she couldn't deny the warmth it brought. The weeks that followed were a whirlwind of change. Samuel's ranch became a symbol of hope for Stillwater, inspiring other settlers to invest in the town's future. He and Clara grew closer, sharing meals and stories that deepened their bond. But Clara couldn't shake her fears. She'd built her life on independence, and the idea of opening her heart felt as daunting as the open prairie. One evening, as the first snow of winter began to fall, Samuel knocked on Clara's door. He carried a bundle wrapped in brown paper. "For you," he said, handing it over. Clara unwrapped the package to reveal a hand-carved wooden music box. Inside, a delicate mechanism played a hauntingly beautiful melody. "Samuel, it's lovely," Clara whispered, her eyes glistening. "I've never met anyone like you, Clara," Samuel said, his voice low. "You're strong and kind, and you've made this town feel like home. I don't want to imagine my life without you." Clara's breath caught. She'd been so guarded, so focused on protecting herself, that she'd almost missed the possibility of love. "Samuel, I." Before she could finish, Samuel took her hands in his. "I'm not asking for an answer tonight. I just needed you to know how I feel." Tears slipped down Clara's cheeks as she nodded. "Thank you, Samuel. for everything. Winter settled over Stillwater, bringing long nights and a sense of stillness. Clara and Samuel's relationship blossomed, though they took things slowly. The townsfolk noticed their connection, offering knowing smiles and subtle encouragement. One day, Samuel proposed a sleigh ride to gather firewood. As they rode through the snowy woods, laughter echoed between the trees. Clara felt a lightness she hadn't known in years. When they stopped to rest, Samuel built a small fire, and they shared stories under the stars. "Clara, I've been thinking," Samuel began, his tone serious. "I came to Stillwater to start over, but it's become so much more than that. This place, this life, it's only complete with you in it." Clara's heart swelled. She'd spent so long fearing vulnerability, but Samuel had shown her that love didn't have to mean losing herself. "Samuel, I've been afraid of letting someone in, but with you it feels right. It feels like home." Samuel's face lit up with joy. "Does that mean?" Clara smiled. "Yes, I'll stand by you, Samuel Hart." Their wedding was a simple affair, held in the church where the community gathered for every occasion. Friends and neighbors filled the pews, their faces glowing with happiness. As Clara and Samuel exchanged vows, the future stretched before them like the endless prairie, full of promise, challenge, and love. The reception spilled into the town square where lanterns cast a warm glow. The music of fiddles and guitars filled the air, and Clara and Samuel danced under the stars, their laughter mingling with the melody. For the first time in years, Clara felt complete. Together they built a life that honored their past while embracing the future. The Whitaker Ranch became a haven for friends and family, a testament to what could be achieved with hope and hard work. And through it all, their love remained a steady flame, guiding them through every storm. As the years passed, Clara and Samuel's story became a cherished part of Stillwater's history. And in the heart of the prairie, their legacy lived on, a reminder that even in the harshest landscapes, love could take root and thrive.